When you hear about Tokaj wines, it's typically connected with tradition and quality. Let's speak about it a little bit. What do we think about it? So I used to say that we don't need to create marketing stories of Tokaj because everything is done and written in our past. We mean that, of course, with very strong traditional growing and winemaking basis, but we want to create wine for today, for you, for the customers, for ourselves who's living today. So those kind of elements which are first written in the 16th century in the regulation of Tokaj winemaking are based from the 10th, 11th century. So many practices were developed in the viticulture, in the winemaking. So for example, 30, 40, even more grape varieties were tried, which is the best for dry wines, noble sweet wines. Slowly but surely our ancestors find the path, find the way. So we don't need to think about today the grape varieties of Tokaj because this scent triangle, like the most important grape varieties in surface like Furmint, Hasló, and Muscat, are quite fixed and we can work with them very well. Besides, the practices of the viticulture are also developed well. So for the certain terroirs, you have to develop your own culture. I don't mean that for every single terroirs are different in culture, but you have to adapt. And the adaptation in the nature, in the agriculture is very important. This is the same in viticulture, of course. What I mean, how you call, how you grow, how you train your trellis system, for example. Earlier it was gobelet, which was very close to the ground. Now we use a kind of wire system with some columns and in rows we cultivate. Both cases you can have lots of grapes per hectare. The more grape stocks per hectare, the less you have to grow per grape stock. It means that the quality is even higher and higher. A very important step of the Tokaj viticulture, the strict yield limitation. If it's needed, in July you have to cut the surplus bunches and drop them onto the ground. It is very important, the strict yield limitation. And in the winemaking, those steps which were developed by our ancestors traditionally are also used today. For example, when we produce the high-end Tokaj wines, we do completely the same. Every single berry is picked one by one during the harvest. Can you imagine that one person can collect a day one harvesting box, 10 to 15 kilograms? So this very diligent hard work we do the same way as it happened 400 years ago. So that kind of knowledge which was collected for the centuries, during the centuries in Tokaj, is used today, and basically when you taste a glass of Tokaj wine, it is in your mouth and in your brain then.